Welcome to the show. We are starting off with my interview we recently recorded with Dave McCormick. All right, voters, get ready with your notes. You need to decide who you're going to vote for. It's the big statewide election. It is for U.S. Senator. And we have with us right now, running for the Republicans, Dave McCormick. Good to have you on Face the State. Welcome.
Yeah, good to be with you.
Let's start with the economy. I want to hear some things that you think your plan would do that your opponents would not, to get us further ahead from where we are right now.
Well, the cause of inflation, which is killing working families in Pennsylvania, is $5 trillion of new spending that happened under Biden-Harris, and Bob Casey voted for every one of those spending bills. That's the underlying driver of inflation. That, along with the war on oil and gas, fossil fuels, which has driven up the price of fuel. So we got to reverse those policies. 60% of Pennsylvanians are working families living paycheck to paycheck. This is killing them. It's a result of bad policy. We need to pull back on this incredible spending, particularly all the subsidies for electric vehicles and solar panels. We need to unlock our energy sector, and we need to stop paying for things like student loan debt, which the Biden administration, with Bob Casey's support, voted for $160 billion of loan forgiveness. This is the kind of thing we can't afford to do. It's the kind of thing that happened under Biden, Harris, Casey, and so we need to roll that back.
I hear you when it comes to spending from the U.S. government. What about that would actually help the economy and maybe help prices? Because your opponent says greedflation is the problem, and they're going to put in some things to actually penalize companies that might be trying to raise the prices artificially.
Yeah, listen, when you're not taking accountability for something, you try to change the conversation. No mainstream economists, Democratic economists, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, they all agree that the cause of the rise in prices is the bad, excessive spending of Biden, Harris, and Casey. And they said it wouldn't cause inflation, and it did, and they're not taking responsibility for it. Listen, I'm not defending some corporation in terms of its pricing, but what's happening is not the result of price gouging. There's no evidence to support that. And Bob Casey is essentially trying to change the conversation from the responsibility that he has. The same holds true with fossil fuels. The fuel prices are up by 50%. It's because of this war on fossil fuels. The EPA mandate, if you can believe it, 2032, all 70% of all new vehicles have to be electric vehicles under Biden, Harris, and Casey. And it'll get a lot worse under Kamala Harris, who wants to ban fracking. So there's a real difference here in policy, and President Biden and Harris and Casey own responsibility for the inflation, and they're trying to change the conversation.
You know, she has said she does not want to ban fracking. Is that just something you don't believe at this point?
I don't believe it at all. I think it's the height of cynicism. She said she wanted to ban fracking, transition energy workers, which Bob Casey said he wanted to do too. Give amnesty to 10 million illegal immigrants, federal benefits. She wanted mandatory buybacks of guns. She wants to defund the police. These are in her own words 3.5 years ago. And Bob Casey says she's ready to be president, and he'll vote with her 100% of the time. So I think Pennsylvanians are too smart to believe that she's changed every significant position. She is a San Francisco liberal. She's out of touch with Pennsylvania. And Bob Casey went to the Senate to change Washington as a senator, and Washington changed Bob Casey. Bob Casey is now 100% vote for this liberal agenda. He's out of touch with Pennsylvania. And I think that's one of the reasons I'll prevail in November, is because people see that.
You say Pennsylvanians are too smart to fall for that, but in the polls, looks like it's really close. If you think that the Pennsylvanians will get it right and see through that stuff, why do you think it's so close right now?
Well, listen, I'm an underdog. I mean, Bob Casey's a dynasty here in Pennsylvania. He's a dynasty that in his 18 years in the Senate hasn't done any significant legislation and has been a sure vote for his party. So he's been weak and extremely liberal. But he's a career politician, and he's been around a long time. So my challenge is to get up my name ID and to make sure people understand that I'm a combat veteran, someone who's created jobs in Pennsylvania, a seventh-generation Pennsylvanian, an outsider, someone who's going to shake things up. And as people see that the polls are closing, and that's why in the last month, all the polls have shown this within a margin of error. So it's going to be a close race, very tight. I think the way I say it to people on the campaign trails, listen, if you like the status quo, if you think things are on track, you should vote for Bob Casey. If you want change, then I'd be honored to be your senator.
Quick answer. You said he was a career politician. What's the right amount of time to be a senator then? What would you commit to?
I committed to 2 terms.
Okay.
I think we should have term limits. I'll support legislation for term limits. Bob Casey's been in elected office for 30 years. The Macarena was the #1 song when he was in elected office.
That's one way to put it. I mean, if you win, maybe at your ceremony, like maybe that you can dance that as a celebration.
I'll dance. Listen, if you come, I'll dance it at my my win ceremony.
Pretty good challenge right there. We'll see what happens. Hey, it may come down to ads. We're seeing ads every minute or two. Probably there's going to be one right before, right after our interview right here. I talked to you about this once before, if the ads were fair or not. Let's go in the other direction. You have an ad out that it has someone who is a parent of someone who died from fentanyl, and they say if the policies were different, Bob Casey supporting those policies, it may not have happened. Is that a fair assessment? Is that a fair commercial?
100%. That sheriff approached me and said he wanted to help stop the flow of fentanyl. But listen, we had 4,000 Pennsylvanians die last year. It's that fentanyl's coming across the wide open border. And Bob Casey has voted against more money for the Border Patrol. He's voted against the border wall. Now, although now he stands in front of commercials for the border wall, he voted against the fentanyl initiative. He voted for sanctuary cities. No, this is the direct consequence of weak policies on the border. Bob Casey's trying to say he's strong on the border. He's been weak, and that's why fentanyl is killing 4,000 Pennsylvanians last year. And absolutely, that's a root cause and a very fair commercial for that reason.
Got 30 seconds left. Are you enjoying the process, enjoying the race? Tell me something that you're seeing on the trail.
I do. Honestly, I love being, our Commonwealth's incredible, and you meet heroes every day, these personal stories. You got to like people to run for office. I do. I feel honored and privileged to be the nominee, and feel like I'm seeing parts of Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful state. With so much to offer, and so it's been really fun. I mean, I'm ready for it to be over, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited about what lies ahead.
We appreciate you being on the show. Love seeing you out on the trail, and I'm sure we'll see you out there again. Dave McCormick, everybody, running for Senate on the Republican side. Thank you.
Thank you.